Hi, it's Sue. Thanks for joining me for today's Bible reading. It is for May 10th, and I'm reading First Chronicles 28 and 29. It is the last two chapters of this book. Yay! That's good news. So after this, we're going to go into Ezra, Nehemiah, and Esther. I joined those together because it's an easy way to remember the order of the books, E-N-E. Every once in a while, I touch on that to help you get your system for memory. We just finished First, Second Samuel, First, Second Kings, and First, Second Chronicle. So those are easy to remember because they're the three that have the first and second parts of each one. So First, Second Samuel, First and Second Kings, and First and Second Chronicles. Today, as I said, we're reading the last two chapters in Chronicles. Afterward, I will post the entire playlist for the first couple, or at least the first one of Ezra, so that if you want to go back and listen to this whole book all together like I do, you will have that available to you. It is on my playlist. I have a playlist of each book separately listed on my site if you want to take advantage of any of those. And that's it for today. Let me just get started reading here. Oh no, there was one other note. I recorded, let's see, today is the recording for the 10th. So for yesterday's, the 9th, for those who who are listening regularly, I said that it was Teacher Appreciation Day, but in reality, since I record these early, it was like, I don't know, I think it was the day before I recorded it. So sometimes my timing's a little off there, but just so you know, in case you listened and you were wondering. Okay, let's go to today's reading. Last two chapters, yay. 28 verse 1. David assembled all the princes of Israel, the princes of the tribes, the captains of the companies who served the king by division, the captains of thousands, the captains of hundreds, and the rulers over all the substance and possessions of the king and his sons, with the officers and the mighty men, even all the mighty men of valor, to Jerusalem. Then David the king stood up on his feet and said, Hear me, my brothers and my people. As for me, it was my heart to build a house of rest for the ark of Yahweh's covenant and for the footstool of our God. And I had prepared for the building. But God said to me, You shall not build a house for my name, because you are a man of war and have shed blood. However, Yahweh, the God of Israel, chose me out of all the house of my father to be king over Israel forever. For he has chosen Judah to be prince, and in the house of Judah, the house of my father, and among the sons of my father, he took pleasure in me to make me king over all Israel. Of all my sons, for Yahweh has given me many sons, he has chosen Solomon, my son, to sit on the throne of Yahweh's kingdom forever. No, I'm sorry. He has chosen Solomon, my son, to sit on the throne of Yahweh's kingdom over Israel. He said to me, Solomon, your son, shall build my house and my courts, for I have chosen him to be my son, and I will be his father. I will establish his kingdom forever if he continues to do my commandments and my ordinances as it is today. Now, therefore, in the sight of all Israel, Yahweh's assembly, and in audience of our God, observe and seek out all the commandments of Yahweh your God, that you may possess this good land and leave it for an inheritance to your children after you forever. You, Solomon, my son, know the God of your father and serve him with a perfect heart and with a willing mind, for Yahweh searches all the hearts and understands all the imaginations of the thoughts. If you will seek him, he will be found by you, but if you forsake him, he will cast you off forever. Take heed now, for Yahweh has chosen you to build the house for the sanctuary. Be strong and do it. Then David gave to Solomon his son the plans for the porch of the temple, for its houses, for its treasuries, for its upper rooms, for its inner rooms, for the places of the mercy seat. Place of the mercy seat. And the plans of all that he had by the Spirit for the courts of Yahweh's house, for all the surrounding rooms, for the treasuries of God's house, and for the treasuries of the dedicated things, also for the divisions of the priests and the Levites, for all the work of the service of Yahweh's house, and all the vessels of service in Yahweh's house, of gold by weight for the gold, for all the vessels of every kind of service, for all the vessels of silver by weight, for all the vessels of every kind of service, by weight also for the lampstands of gold, and for its lamp of gold by weight for every lampstand, and for its lamps, and for the lampstands of silver by weight for every lampstand, and for its lamps according to the use of every lampstand, and the gold by weight for the tables of the showbread for every table, and silver for the tables of silver, and the forks, the basins, the cups of pure gold, and for the golden bowls by weight for every bowl, and for the silver bowls by weight for every bowl, and for the altar of incense refined gold by weight, and gold for the plans of the chariot, and the cherubim that spread out and cover the ark of Yahweh's covenant. All this, David said, I have been made to understand in writing from Yahweh's hand, even all the works of this pattern. So God gave David the pattern for the temple, just like he gave Moses the pattern for the tabernacle. And that's what he's saying here at the end. I have been made to understand in writing from Yahweh's hand, even all the works of this pattern. David said to Solomon his son, be strong and courageous and do it. Don't be afraid nor be dismayed. For Yahweh God, even my God, is with you. As after 40 years of walking with the Lord, I read so much more into that statement because you can hear from God, know what he said to you, but walking it out is a whole nother thing altogether. And David saying, look, God gave this to you. I gave you all this. Don't back off. Don't be afraid. Why? Because at times it's going to look impossible. You're going to think you're not enough. All the doubts and worries and concerns and every way the enemy comes against us when he wants to stop the work of God. So he's really exhorting him here, don't be afraid. Why? Because you're going to be tempted to be. Don't be dismayed. Why? Because you're going to be tempted to be, right? You're going to feel weak, but be strong. You're not going to want to be brave, but be brave, be courageous. So let me read at the beginning of this verse 20 again. David said to Solomon his son, be strong and courageous and do it. Don't be afraid nor dismayed, for Yahweh your God, even my God, is with you. He will not fail you nor forsake you until all the work of the service of Yahweh's house is finished. Behold, there are the divisions of the priests and the Levites for all the services of God's house. Every willing man, that's important, who has skill for any kind of service shall be with you in all kinds of work. Also the captains and all the people will be entirely at your command. David the king said to all the assembly, Solomon my son, whom alone God has chosen, is yet young and tender, and the work is great. For the palace is not for man, but for Yahweh God. And I have prepared with all my might for the house of God the gold for the things of gold, the silver for the things of silver, the bronze for the things of bronze, iron for the things of iron, and wood for the things of wood. Also onyx stones, stones to be set, stones for inlaid work of various colors, all kinds of precious stones, and marble stones in abundance. In addition, because I have set my affection on the house of my God, since I have treasure of my own gold and silver, I give it to the house of my God, over and above all that I have prepared for the holy house. Even 3,000 talents of gold. Let's see how much that is. I think I looked that up yesterday. 66 pounds. Wow, a lot of gold. All right, so even 3,000 talents of gold of the gold of Ophir, and 7,000 talents of refined silver with which to overlay the walls of the houses. Of gold for the things of gold, of silver for the things of silver, for all kinds of work. Lost my place somehow. All kinds of work to be made by the hands of the artisans, who then offers willingly to consecrate himself today to Yahweh. Oh, it's a question. Who then offers willingly to consecrate himself today to Yahweh? Then the princes of the fathers' households and the princes of the tribes of Israel and the captains of the thousands and of hundreds, with the rulers over the king's work, offered willingly. And they gave for the service of God's house of gold 5,000 talents, of 10,000 derricks, of silver 10,000 talents, of bronze 18,000 talents, and of iron 100,000 talents. People with whom precious stones were found gave them to the treasure of Yahweh's house under the hand of Jehiel the Gershonite. Then the people rejoiced because they offered willingly, because with a perfect heart they offered willingly to Yahweh. And David the king also rejoiced with great joy. Therefore David blessed Yahweh before all the assembly, and David said, You are blessed, Yahweh, the God of Israel our father, forever and ever. Yours, Yahweh, is the greatness, the power, the glory, the victory, and the majesty. For all that is in the heavens and in the earth is yours. Yours is the kingdom, Yahweh, and you are exalted as head above all. Both riches and honor come from you, and you rule over all. In your hand is power and might. In your hand, it is in your hand to make great and to give strength to all. Now, therefore, our God, we thank you and praise your glorious name. But who am I, and what is my people that we should be able to offer so willingly as this? For all things come from you, and we have given you of your own. For we are strangers before you and foreigners, as all our fathers were. Our days on earth are as a shadow, and there is no remaining. Yahweh our God, all this store that we have prepared to build you a house for your holy name comes from our hand and is all your own. I know also, my God, that you try the heart and have pleasures in uprightness. You have pleasure in uprightness. As for me, in the uprightness of my heart, I have willingly offered these things. Now I have seen with joy your people who present here offer willingly to you. Yahweh, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, of Israel, our fathers keep this desire forever in the thoughts of the heart of your people and prepare their heart for you. and give to Solomon my son a perfect heart to keep your commandments, your testimonies, and your statutes, and to do all these things, and to build the palace for which I have made provision. Then David said to all the assembly, Now bless Yahweh your God. All the assembly blessed Yahweh, the God of the fathers, and bowed down their heads and prostrated themselves before Yahweh and the king. They sacrificed sacrifices to Yahweh and offered burnt offerings to Yahweh. On the next day after that day, even 1,000 bulls, 1,000 rams, 1,000 lambs, with their drink offerings and sacrifices in abundance for all Israel, and ate and drank before Yahweh on that day with great gladness. They made Solomon the son of David king the second time, and anointed him before Yahweh to be prince, and Zadok to be priest. Then Solomon sat on the throne of Yahweh as king instead of David his father, and prospered, and all Israel obeyed him. All the princes, the mighty men, and also the sons of King David submitted themselves to Solomon the king. Yahweh magnified Solomon exceedingly in the sight of all Israel, and gave to him such royal majesty as had not been on any king before him in Israel. Now David the son of Jesse reigned over all Israel. The time that he reigned over Israel was 40 years, and he reigned 7 years in Hebron, and reigned 33 years in Jerusalem. He died at a good old age, full of days, riches, and honor, and Solomon his son reigned in his place. Now the acts of David the king, first and last, behold, they are written in the history of Samuel the seer, and in the history of Nathan the prophet, and in the history of Gad the seer, with all his reign and his might, and the times that went over him, and over Israel, and over all the kingdoms of the countries. That's it for today's reading. Thank you for joining me. God bless you till tomorrow.